Alright, stream marker added. Alright, let's go. Seth Ordersoul versus Axel. So basically what I'm going to be looking for here is I'm just going to try to get an idea of, you know, what level of play we're looking at, and just probably for the first round or so just kind of watch and just get a feel for where they're at, because certain advice is not going to be useful for certain people. You have to be, you know, at a certain point for certain advice to kind of help you. So I can already see level of play is pretty reasonable. You know, we're not looking at like the fact he said he's only been playing for a month. I mean, he just went for a hard combo and he hit the first part and he barely missed the hard part. So this is already higher than I was expecting for somebody that's only been playing for a month. I mean, he's doing great. We know he's an anti-error already. Yeah, I mean, we know that. Okay, so I see a couple little things already. We'll go back through this again. He tried. I wonder if that's the right variation on Axel. I don't know the specifics of Ordersoul's dust loop in the corner. There's definitely different versions depending on the weight of the character. I feel like that might not be the right version for Axel, just based on how low he was, but... Okay. Yeah, I see one very easy thing here we can pick apart. I mean, obviously he's doing very well. Maybe this Axel's about to come back. About to get... That was a good burst, because I think he was going to get dizzy from the end of that combo. I would not have been surprised. Actually, you know what? I want to go back. Oh, well, we can't. I was gonna say I'm gonna not burst and see if it dizzies, but of course the combo won't continue. Yeah, I mean, this is already way higher than what I would expect for 1 month. So let's go through the rest, because what I was gonna show is not really specific to anything in that match. It's more of a general thing. So let's see some other stuff here, and then we'll go back into the matches. Also, some of the stuff that I want to talk about, we don't need to look at a specific point in the replay necessarily. Okay, went for the explosion, reasonable. Oh, missed the pickup. Nice. He uses Gunblaze pretty well. Okay. He's hitting that FRC really consistently too. Good try. Good Gunblaze. I also like he's just going for the simple combos, not like, you know, trying to overexert himself and go for the ID combo if he doesn't need to. Ooh, that's an inexperienced thing. That's not a big deal. Okay, using the explosion a little too much, I think. Yeah, gotta be a little more liberal with that, I think, or a little less liberal. I mean, excuse me. A little more reserved with that. There you go. Nice. Okay, a little frame trap there, nice. I like that he didn't go for an additional rep. Maybe he's not as comfortable on Mei, but it's so risky. She had so much meter. I would have done exactly what he did and just ended the combo. Unless I was very confident I could do more. Nice. I mean, it kind of worked, but don't do it again. No. All right, you got to stop doing the explosion. Nice. Oh, it wasn't counter hit, so. Okay, nice. What's going on? He's holding the charge a little too long, and I think that's why he's getting himself into trouble. Once they start approach, you just let go. But he's holding it a little bit long, and then he's putting himself in a spot where he kind of has to do the explosion or get hit. Ooh. Didn't trust the jump in. Chip is a... Yeah. Oh my god. Alright. So yeah, I would say from this match that the big takeaway is definitely doing the explosion out of the charge less. Just hold the charge for less time, so you don't put yourself into a position where you need to consider using that. Okay, that was worth it. Nice. Wake up 2H. Hold on, we gotta go back for a second. That's gotta be a DP, right? Because it almost looked like it was intentional because he was like blocking for a second, right? Oh, he didn't try to DP. He just hit 2H. I'm trying to think about this. He wasn't trying to DP, though. That's the thing. 2H is throw invulnerable? Is that true? I don't think that that's true. 6K is throw invuln. Let me get the frame data up. I'm sure we're going to want this in the future as well. Oh, Ringe. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see. 2H. God, it's crazy to me that 2H is listed as 23 frames. Because it doesn't feel that way because the beginning of the animation is very subtle. Lower body invuln, throw invuln. Oh, but it's throw invuln frame 17 to 26, so that's not really super relevant. But you are technically correct. It is throw invuln for a portion. I'm just trying to think about this. This is very interesting to me. I mean, I guess if you assume that they are going to wake up blocking because they think that you're going to DP. Yeah, but this is like, again, this is the Tatsu. This is Tatsu Gate. Like, it worked, but that is definitely not the best thing you could do there. If you think that they are going to respect your wake up and they're going to block, I think 2P is better, or like fuzzy jump is better. Because if you are wrong and you hit wake up 2H, first of all, the reward is shit. So unless they hit a button late and you get a counter hit, the reward is garbage. So, and you just lose to anything they could do. Yeah, I mean, back throw also, but I didn't even mention that because I think he was out of throw range, wasn't he? Where did it happen again? Yeah, see, he like walked back on the wake up, so it was not clear. See, he was like walking back, so I wouldn't have tried to back throw there because it was clear by the time he was getting up that he probably wouldn't be in throw range. He walked back in, so he might have been, but yeah. But yeah, I would much rather see in that kind of spot, if you want to take a risk and you think that they're going to respect a DP, I like fuzzy jump or 2P. And fuzzy jump, by fuzzy jump, in case there's people that are not familiar with that term, it's basically like you block on wake up, and then you just block for a few frames, and then you hit like up forward or up back, depending on which way you want to jump, and then you go back to down back. And the idea is that if they meaty you, you will block and your jump will not come out because you'll be in block stun. But if they don't meaty you, for example, if they are blocking because they think that you're going to DP, then you jump out of the pressure. So it's a very low risk way to get out of pressure, and it's not exclusive to wake up. You can do that just in the middle of pressure. Anytime if they're creating gaps in their pressure, you can very quickly try to jump and then go back to a crouching guard and give yourself a chance to jump. You are vulnerable during your pre-jump, but you know, it's still low risk relative to a lot of other options. So, but if you want to hit a button, if you think they're going to block, I would much rather hit 2P, because then if they do continue to block, you get pressure out of it. Like the 2H hitting is almost, I would argue, I think you could make an argument that hitting a non-counter hit 2H is almost less valuable than getting them to block a 2P. Because once they block the 2P, you have a lot of options to pressure them that are going to lead to more damage if they get hit than just the 2H. The 2H is like insignificant damage. And then especially once you factor the risk back in, I think it's just totally not worth it. Fuzzy jumping forces you to stand if the jump doesn't come out, right? For a couple of frames, technically. If you did wind up blocking something and then you input your jump, during the time that you're inputting, basically during the time that you are not holding down back, you are standing. You have to be holding some downward direction to be crouch blocking while you're in block stun. So, all right, so let's keep going. That was a very specific thing. All right, and again, you kind of got there for going for the explosion. I like Gunblaze there to get out of the corner. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out, but I like the idea to switch sides. Whoa, that was tricky. I thought you were on the other side also. Right, so you're about to get burst back, but I think it's too late to burst here. Whoa, okay, yeah. You really like that move, huh? And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their favorite move. But just be aware that it is very risky, as you can probably already, you probably already know. Yeah, and see, the problem is, so we talked about this kind of the other day, where it's fine to have like a pet move and have certain things that you do as your level 1, as long as you know what you're doing and you know in the back of your mind, I'm doing this and I know it's not the best, but I want to do it. That's totally fine. But once you see that your opponent recognizes it and they have gone to the next level and they say, oh, he likes to do the explosion, I'm just gonna, when he's charging, I'm just gonna run up and block, you gotta be able to flip the switch off. You gotta be able to stop, you gotta be able to turn it off. That is like the number one. I was thinking about this the other day. It's funny, Sajam, because some of the topics you've been discussing lately have been really making me want to talk about some other stuff that are related to some of those topics. And I was thinking about it the other day that I think the number one biggest ultimate plateau that every player hits at some point is this exact idea of not being able to, or not being aware enough to pay attention to the opponent and realizing what the opponent is adjusting to so that they can adjust their own gameplay. I think this is like the biggest plateau for, I guess, intermediate players. And it's one of those things where it's a huge plateau that if you don't overcome the plateau, you just like can't improve. The players that have gone past that are able to do it, you can never beat, and you will just beat all the people below you forever. And it's just like a holding area where until you can start to do this and start to adapt, it's like when people talk about like adapting, this is really what they're talking about. And it's such an important skill. And this is a perfect example. You have to be able to recognize, okay, my opponent sees that I'm doing this a lot. Now I have to go to the next level, and the next level in this case is just don't do the explosion, right? They're gonna run up and block, and you got away with it. You don't get a huge reward, but you don't get punished. You got away with something. So, just something to think about. And don't get me wrong, it's easier said than done. I think it's simultaneously the biggest plateau and also the hardest skill to learn in fighting games. But I also think it's the most important for that reason. There's just so many things that you cannot progress past until you are able to do it. Let me see this for a second. Okay. Done that a couple times with the gun blaze. It's been working. You've been getting the throw. Man. Just imagine, like, you're winning so hard here, but look at how many chances you're giving them by doing this. Just imagine how cleanly you would be winning if you just weren't doing the explosions. Nice. Okay, so let's go into training mode for a second. So the biggest thing that I noticed right away in the first game, and this is actually not really a problem, but I want to point it out to you as something that you can focus on going forward. And I also want to preface it by saying it's totally to be expected given that you've only been playing the game for a month. For 1 month progress, that is fantastic. You're doing great. So the number one thing that I noticed is that you basically do the same string every string. Every time you get near them, you do 5k close slash, and then on hit, you do sweep. I think you were even maybe doing sweep on block some of the time. So there's a couple of things with this. Again, this is totally fine, because you need a starting point. And so obviously you learned a good solid string, which is exactly what this is. And it's your go-to. Whenever you need something up close, this is your go-to. Again, I can't stress this enough. It's great. You need a starting point. But with that said, I feel like you're already at a point where you can start looking at other options because your fundamentals are already there. You've got good enough combos, got a good enough grasp on simple mix-ups and stuff like that. The problem with this is twofold. Number one, this string is it's fine and it has good aspects to it, but it's not great. There's no real low. You know, this is a mid, so you do want to work in like 2K in some way or 2D earlier in the string, which we'll get into in a second. But the good thing is that this is 3 frames, so you know it's not like you're hitting a bad button. It's not like your string is bad. Again, your string is totally fine. One of the other aspects of why this is holding you back a little bit and why you're going to want to loosen up on this a little bit and get some more options is you were getting some hits. For example, this, and then you were still going to this. And you're actually just losing damage by doing this. There's better confirms you can do. So for example, if you hit this, the common kind of convention, the conventional confirm is 2S5H. So something like this. Now granted, that generally leads to a harder route, because then you generally need to do the ID route. So again, only start doing this if you get comfortable with it. I'm just giving you stuff that you can work towards. You know, if you hit this close and you just want to do a simple air combo, by all means, you know, go with your comfort level. But again, I want to give you stuff for the future that you can continue to work on. So, you know, look at stuff like this, and then you ID, jump P or jump K, stuff like that. And again, this will become more comfortable for you once you start utilizing other block strings. So the other problem with doing the string every time is just that you're actually losing out on a lot of opportunities by always doing this string. So, you know, if you do a jump in and they block it, and then you're doing this, or, you know, you're doing something like this, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity because Order Soul just wants to get near you, and then he can do all sorts of stuff. You can do 2H, you can do simple tick throws, simple repressures, and then the last thing, and obviously this is, again, it's something that's a little more advanced, is how do you do, I forget how you do the charge. I thought it was down, down. How do you do the charge? What's the command? Quarter circle back D. Okay. So you can do the stance cancel stuff, which this is, again, a little more advanced, but something just for you to look at and consider. And it's not... Okay, well, let's talk about it first. So what is the stance cancel? Basically, you can utilize this as a way to cancel out of your moves. So something like this gives you totally different options than just letting the sweep go, or doing sweep into, you know, rocket, or Not that. How do you do blockhead? Whatever blockhead is. There you go. You know, doing something like this. This is going to give you totally different options. And so the idea is you want to be mixing up all these different things. Now, when you get to a really high level, you'll be able to freestyle to some extent and be able to just think of what you want to do and be able to put the stance cancel in different places. In some case, you might even do that same string you were doing and just stance cancel it. But you'll want to have the freedom to stance cancel in various places because it confuses the opponent. It makes it harder for them to react and harder for them to know what you're doing. It sets up your frame traps better. So, what I would suggest to start to ease your way into this concept is go into training mode or watch a video maybe. Look up some, you know, a good Order Soul player. Look up like Kazunoko from, you know, 7-8 years ago. He went by the name Inoue in Guilty Gear. And pick out a couple of strings, watch some videos and look at some strings and go, oh, that one looks cool. And just learn 1 or 2 strings that have like a stance cancel in them. And just use those as your go-to. Yeah, Mr. K. Yeah, Mr. K is another good player. Just pick out 1 or 2 strings and work those in. You know, go into training mode and get comfortable with those. And then just go into matches and just kind of force them. Every time you get in, use those. And then you can start mixing up the string that you're used to and the other string. And just try to vary your options. And then as you get comfortable, you can pick out some more strings and work them in. And eventually you'll have enough in your repertoire that you'll be able to freestyle a little more generally. I know a really common one is a sweep into like 5K because this will actually combo on hit. And that's why I was saying it's a good low option. You can put the enemy on limited. So it might be counter hit only. It might not work on Kai. I don't know. I'm obviously not a Order Soul player, but oh, it does work on Kai. So again, this is a little advanced, but you can actually pick them up off of that. So yeah, just something to look at. But other than that, really good stuff, man. I think number one thing you gotta stop doing the explosion. Definitely, I would say number one. But yeah, good stuff. All right. So obviously, there's plenty more we could talk about, but I do want to make sure. So that was like 20 minutes. All right, so I want to make sure that I get through everyone, and I don't want to spend a million years. So maybe try to be a little more concise. This is a learning experience for me, also. You know, it's a tough struggle for me because I want to give as much advice as possible so that people have a lot of stuff that they can work on. And the goal, again, I'm not saying you should expect to fix all this stuff overnight, but I want to give you stuff that, you know, for the next several weeks, you have stuff that you can, you know, work into your game and you know, kind of different focuses. Don't try to work it in all at once. Just, you know, pick out certain things, and then when you know, get comfortable with those things, go on to the next stuff. All right, so who do we have next? I have to make sure I do another stream marker. All right, that was Seth. All right, so this is DeltaWave. So naturally, I am getting, you know, multiple Venom submissions. Obviously, a lot of Venom players watch my stream. So I'll be able to give more detailed, very nuanced advice here if the situation calls for that. Hey, DeltaWave is here. Cool. Okay. Review DeltaWave. All right, let's take a look. All right, so this is 3 matches versus. Oh, I should have looked. Did you have a comment? Pause this for a second. Did you have a comment? DeltaWave. Okay, so you mentioned Fujin. Okay. One good note, I appreciate the detail here. DeltaWave notes that these are from the middle of a longer set. So they had already been playing each other a little bit, and I expect, you know, we're going to kind of be walking into some decisions might look a little weird to us because we don't have the context of the beginning matches. So we got to keep that in mind. All right, let's take a look. How often am I planning on doing these? Once a week I'm planning on doing these. Nice anti-air. I like the Oki choice. That's a good Oki choice because it's pretty good against Fujin, I would imagine. It looks like you were a little close, but the idea is good. I think it probably still would have stopped Fujin. Oh, the reset. That's annoying. Go back here. What happened here? Oh, okay. Oh, you hit a button. What'd you hit? 2K? Yeah, 2K. Nice jump out. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean this is like Angie 101. Oh no, you didn't follow this. This is so far everything is that you're getting hit by is like matchup inexperience basically. Which we'll talk about a little bit. Nice throw. So this spot right here, I've been trying to work on this also. I keep doing the same thing, where you have a ball in this spot. I asked this last time, is there not a way to hide the menu? Select doesn't work like it does in training mode. I guess I can do frame by frame, right? Oh yeah, Y. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So this keeps happening to me also, where you have a ball out in this general area somewhere in front of you, and then you get an anti-air or some kind of hit, and you want to do close slash 6K, but your close slash is going to hit the ball. And I keep doing this as well. I have not once successfully, I know the right answer, I haven't done it once myself, so don't feel bad. I think the right thing to do here is you got to do 2-hit close slash, which against Angie specifically is troublesome because a lot of the time the first hit of close slash whiffs on him. Here I think it's good because I think it's gonna be good because I think he's low enough that the first hit is gonna hit. But let me back up a little bit. I just want to get right to where you start to backdash, and then oh whoops. Yeah, see, this is true now. So the thing is, the idea is that the first hit of close slash hits the ball, and it doesn't disrupt the combo for the second hit of close slash because it's so fast. But if you try to go into raw 6K, it's too slow, and the ball doesn't have enough untechable time. So if you just let yourself get 2 hits of close slash, it'll correct the combo. Does that make sense? Alright, so let's keep going. But yeah, I have the same problem. I'm trying to fix it also. Alright, Mr. Impossible Dust. Do you know an Impossible Dust combo? First of all, I'm assuming that... Let me go back for a second. First of all, I'm assuming that you didn't even mean to do Dust, but maybe you did. For me, it's basically always intentional. Oh, you were trying to do Force Break Match Struggle. And you didn't hit up forward. Okay, so we can look at this super quick. Should I do it here? I guess I could do it here instead of going to training mode. There's basically 2 Impossible Dust combos. Black Snake always does the faultless one. So I'm not even sure actually. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. How do I stop this? You want to do the homing jump after the dust hits, and then you just faultless cancel. There's something about faultless canceling that enables the Impossible Dust. I used to know like all the details about how it works. If you're not familiar, Impossible Dust is basically like how can I explain this simply? So when you hit a dust, it has very special properties as far as untechable time and cancelability. So, for example, for the first X frames, you can cancel anything into anything, and you have a certain amount of guaranteed untechable time and stuff like that. So the idea behind an impossible dust is that you cancel your homing jump, which I think is why you do the faultless cancel, because you want yourself to fall, and then there's a window at the beginning of the dust hitting them, like their floating animation, where if you hit them within a certain window, it's untechable for like, I don't know, 60 frames or something like that. So the idea is that you want to hit them towards the end of that window, and then they will just fall back down to the ground untechable, basically. So, so again, the idea here is after the dust, I'm gonna hit up to get my homing jump, and then I'm just gonna faultless cancel, and then just hit them with a jump D. And they'll just fall back down to the ground untechable, and you can just get a close slash. Whoa, whoa. What the hell? See how that's a true combo? I'm gonna show my other one now. I think this is I should start doing this one, honestly. Because you get like a full combo off this. See, I messed it up there and it was techable. I probably hit the jump dust too soon. You want to hit it late. You want to hit the jump dust late. The one that I do is this, which only works in the corner against most characters. But the reason that I do this is that in theory, this is mostly burst safe, because you can do homing jump, back H, jump cancel, back H, and then H mad struggle. And if they burst, you're OS grabbing, so you have a good chance of grabbing their burst. Practically, I've never grabbed anyone's burst doing this. It is so awkward, the input, because you're hitting up, back H, and then quarter circle forward. It's just super awkward. Your hand is like all over the place. It's not worth it, in my opinion, practically. And the other thing is, yo, Seth, I just did your replays. You were the first ones. So you can check out the VOD. How you doing, man? So yeah, practically I think it's, I don't know, not as good. The other thing is, and maybe we'll look at this in training mode after, I think that the one that Black Snake does, the Faultless Defend Cancel Jump D, is also extremely burst safe, because you're FDing at the beginning. So if they burst the dust right away, it's going to be burst safe. And if they burst late, it might just whiff over your jump D. So we'll look at that in training mode. Remind me after we're done with the matches, because I'm curious about that myself anyway. But yeah, it's good to just know a combo. I rarely use dust intentionally. But like this, sometimes you're going for one thing. Sometimes I try to sweep and I mess up and I get 5D. So it's good to know a combo so that if you get a 5D, you can, because they do hit a lot, obviously. So, you know, it's good to know a combo. Yeah, so yeah, he is just going in with Fujin. Okay, jump back was okay. Yeah, Venom's 5D is unblockable until you block it 100% of the time. Those are the only options, basically. So this is great that this just happened. I mean, it's not great for you, but it's great for our learning opportunities here. So I mentioned that the jump away was okay when you did it last time. Look at how bad you got punished for jumping here. So I want to really talk about this for a second, because again, I think this is a good example of your matchup inexperience, because this to me screams that you really don't know what to do against Fujin. because jump is like a pretty bad option. When you were mid-screen before, it was okay because you jumped back. But jumping beats basically none of the options. So he did a hop here, which allowed him to recover in time to anti-air you, and you're about to eat shit basically. If he does H or D, you can't hit a button anyway because they have high auto guard, and you're in the air, so everything you do is a high. If he does the low, you may get caught out of your jump startup, or if he delays it, yeah, you're gonna jump, but you're gonna get a shit punish. You're gonna get like jump H maybe into 2D if he's close enough. Probably not. He's probably gonna be too far. You can maybe do like jump H, 2S H stinger, but very risky. And if he does the fans, you're just going to land and have to block the fans, and he gets to repressure you. So neutral jump here beat basically zero of the options. You half beat the low option. Also, the low option, he could FRC it. So if he does the low option, he sees you jump, he could just FRC. So neutral jump, definitely I do not recommend. If anything, if you're going to jump here, at least jump forward. Because then if he does this, if he does any of the forward moving ones, K, H, or D, at least you're getting out of the corner. Yeah, trying to counterattack in this situation is not advised. And this is more anti-Angie than it is, Venom, more than anything. Yeah, exactly. He can make the low gapless, and even scarier than making it gapless is he can make it a tiny gap. So if you try to hit anything or jump, it's going to catch your jump or your button. So, yeah. Yeah, now you're... Oh, he let you off the hook light. That was a light punish. You could have easily eaten like 30 to 40% there. Okay. 2K was not a bad option there. For exactly that reason. Oh, you went for the throw? Let me see. Okay. So here's something else we can talk about, even though it didn't matter here because you got 2P'd. But, oh, whoops. Look at your throw input. 6H. Not good. Not good, not good. You gotta start now. This is something for anybody watching that is new to Guilty Gear. Any new player... Day one of the things I advise every new player day one is learn your throw OS. To me, it's like fundamental for every character, and the longer you go without doing a throw OS, it's going to be that much harder for you because you're going to have to unlearn the wrong way and relearn the right way. You're going to have to it's way harder to change a habit than to just start a new habit fresh. So anybody that's watching this, if you do not throw OS, please, this would be, honestly, my #1 priority for you would be to fix this immediately. I would literally not play another match until you go into training mode, do this for 5 minutes, and then the next time you play, force yourself to do it every time you go for a throw until it becomes natural. It is that important. And especially for Venom, he has such a good throw OS. Close slash is so good. It's 3 frames. It hits jump away sometimes. It's so good. So I would talk about this in more detail, but I want to make sure we get through all the replays. And I've actually already made a video on exactly this. So if you type !throws into the chat, it will link you to a highlight where I talk all about how to throw properly in Guilty Gear. So the very short 10-second version is you should be hitting, for a lot of characters, P so that you get 6P, or K or S, but you need to be hitting something. There are very few characters who 6H is actually the best button to hit. It is very rare. What is your name? Cow Defenestrator? I talk about that in the video. You cannot throw S with 4 yet. So yeah, I can't stress this enough. You gotta fix that. That's like a major hole in your offense. And I almost wonder if here, I don't even think you got the H. Yeah, he hit 2P like so quickly, but yeah. But at least you would have had a chance of counter hitting him. try to jump out again. Yeah, you hit up back. All right, so we're gonna talk about Fujin a little bit. I don't want this to necessarily be like anti-Angie. I wanna try to, you know, find more stuff that will be more generally useful to you. But again, this is similar to Seth, where you already have a very, you know, reasonable level of play just in general. Like the Venom stuff that you're doing is all good. Oh well, okay. You missed your run, I assume there. Yeah. Okay. Good, I like the ID there to get out of the corner. Ooh. So, I mean, this is... I don't even fault you for this. I've talked about this before. I gotta get used to Y as the pause button. It's so weird. I've talked about this before. I will never fault a Venom for missing this. I still miss it from time to time. And I've talked about this before. Honestly, probably 2021, probably 10 to 11 years ago, maybe even more, I used to spend hours in training mode just practicing this. So it does just take practice, and there's really no way around it. I've talked about it before. If you want to make it a little easier on yourself, see, you got a really far distance knockdown here. So you could actually do KD ball here to make it a little bit easier on yourself. And you'll basically never miss it if you do the D variant of the K ball. But yeah, it's just, you know, you just barely missed it. Nothing to be ashamed of. It happens to every Venom. So it's just unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah, those simple 5P Okies are pretty good against Angie. I'm a fan. Good block. What was that? Oh, you tried a dead angle. Yeah, it's the classic. Yeah. Yeah, he's killing you with Fujin, which, you know, that's kind of Angie in a nutshell. Okay. So one little thing you can do here, just an option. I do it almost every time. I'm a big fan of it. You can do this. Oh, I need to go back further. Yeah, this shit is hard to control. God damn it. I'm not used to the controls. Where is it? Oh, there. I like lost the place now. Okay, here we go. So now it's A. Oh, it didn't charge. That's okay, actually. You can do this. This is a really nice way to get like max value out of your ball. It's awkward with the replay, but yeah, basically you just start charging again, and you do 5P to slow the ball down, and then you do a stinger cancel, and it'll form a split. It's just, I feel like it gets you more value out of the force break, and it just covers a lot of space. And most people's response to the force break stinger is to get in the air anyway. So, yo, what's up, Caliber? Thank you for the raid, man. Appreciate it. How you guys doing tonight? We're going over some viewer submitted replays. I love when I try to dead angle and get 6P with Soul. Yeah. 6K. You used to get 6P with Venom until they gave him a 6K. I think 6K, I don't know, they're both bad. 6K is probably better, because the problem is 6P would just whiff over people's heads, but 6K is so slow, so. Oh, nice. Good job air blocking that. Ooh. Did you try to? No, okay. Yeah, you try to jump. Wait, did you get out of your jump again? Yeah, you did. That's your pre-jump. Oh, you actually got in the air. You maybe could have faultless this. So this is something else. Okay, so this is something good. That's not anti-Angie. That's just Venom general. We talked about fuzzy jumping a little while ago. Pretty important with Venom, honestly, because one of his best defensive options is to jump, since he really doesn't have great buttons to mash, and obviously he doesn't have any reversals. 2K, let me rephrase that. He doesn't have high reward buttons to mash. 2S is a good mash button at this kind of range, mid-range, because it's so fast, but it doesn't necessarily lead to a lot of reward unless you have a charge for Stinger. But, yeah, jumping out of pressure is like one of your primary defensive tools, but it's really important that you do it correctly. Actually, you know what? I want to go all the way back for a second. I want to go back to where you got hit. Okay. I just want to see this for a second. So you jumped. Okay, so here. Yeah, see, if you're gonna jump, you gotta faultless after. For exactly this reason. Exactly this reason. So that if you get tagged by something on your way up, you don't get hit. So definitely, that's another kind of fundamental thing that I would try to fix as soon as possible, because that's going to help you in every matchup. Just anytime you're trying to jump out of pressure, you should be faultlessing, and what you will eventually build towards is that you can faultless. The faultlessing will become instinctual. You will just do it without thinking, and then as you are rising, you can assess what is going on and then determine what you want to do. Sometimes you want to keep faultlessing and just let yourself fall. Sometimes you want to air dash, sometimes you want to double jump, sometimes you want to hit a button. But the initial faultlessing on your way up should be almost part of the jump. It should be one motion in a way. Alright, so let's get back into round 2. Yeah, so far the main things I would say are just they're kind of engine things. It's not even Venom things, and it's not necessarily Angie things. You just gotta tighten up on some of the game mechanic stuff, like using faultless when you jump and throw OSing and stuff like that. Those little things make a really big difference, specifically because they apply to every matchup, and they just come up over and over and over. So your win percentage actually goes up quite a lot once you can start doing that stuff properly. He is just murdering you with Fujins. Oh, this was very risky. So this is anti-Angie. He didn't punish you for this. You should have just died, actually. You should have just lost. Basically... see if I can do it. Yeah, see, this is an OS. It's not even throw your burst. They can OS throw it, but most Angies will just block it because they get an even better punish. But this is like one of the most reliable and how can I even phrase this? It is zero risk for the Angie. The way this works is that the FRC point, so that move is called on, the air grab. The FRC point for that move is after the active frames. So basically, he can do any like high level Angie. It is free to try to FRC it. Every single time they do an on, they are going to FRC it. Because if the on hits you, they can no longer FRC. It's going to hit on the first active frame, and it puts you into the animation. They get locked into the animation. So when it hits, they don't get the FRC. But if it doesn't hit, for example, if you burst, they can immediately block or grab your burst. Sometimes they will OS grab, so they'll FRC and then grab. And again, it's all free to try. There's no penalty for them trying. They can never FRC it on hit, so it's just free. So with that said, you need to be very careful bursting Anji that you don't burst when he's about to do on. And sometimes that's tricky because like here, I feel like a lot of Anjis would have actually done kick slash on. And so when you burst might have been okay. If you would have burst the first hit and he did kick slash on, you'd been fine. Here he did one hit directly into on. So, you know, there you go. So good luck, I guess, but yeah, it's important to understand you don't want to burst into on. Sometimes you have no choice, you might as well try, but here you did not need to burst that. Actually, you did need to burst that now that I look at it. You actually needed to burst before. You needed to burst here before he even got the close slash. Once he hit this close slash, you were actually just dead. That was checkmate. You needed to burst before this close slash hit you. Nice. This is a good example of what I was talking about before. Like, why? This is the second hit of close slash. Why didn't the first hit? There's the first hit whiffing. Why? Why? Why is this not hitting? So annoying. So annoying. So yeah, back to what I was talking about before to correct that ball being in front of you. If we were back in that situation again, you had the ball in front of you, you wouldn't have been able to correct it. Because if you let this go and you get the second and third hit, he's going to be too high for 6k. So I guess the way you correct it actually is you do second hit, third hit, and then you jump cancel and you don't do 6k. But, yeah, super annoying. Little side note. Wow. Wake up 5p. I mean, it was kind of recognition by him that that was not going to be a true meaty. Actually, let me look at this again. So yeah, so you did jump K. If you had done jump S here, if you're going to do HK formation like this, you should be doing jump S. And that'll hit him, let me back it up a little bit more. See? He didn't even get the 5p because they hit him so meaty. But yeah, that's actually what I would recommend for this Oki. The other option is to 5k this ball first. Which is just... Mid-screen I would do this, you get a little more pushback, a little more chip, and then you can do this. So yeah, the reason he was able to 5p here is because this is never going to be meaty. So, yeah. Nice throw. Oh no, the 2S didn't come out. Wait. Oh, it hit the ball. That was actually sick. That's actually sick. I've never seen this before. Damn, this gave me all sorts of ideas. That's pretty sick. Hold on, I gotta think about this for a second. Why did I never think of that? So if the force break ball has already used its bounce, but then it hits a ball, the new ball hasn't used its bounce yet. So you get the bounces on it still. That was pretty cool. I'm gonna have to mess with that later. That was pretty cool. That just gave me like a shitload of ideas actually. That's super cool. Again, first hit a close slash whiffing. It looks like it actually messed you up there. So this is beautiful that this just happened, because this is actually what I was going to show you. So if you go back, there's like, you probably already saw part or all of this, but I played against Zidane, Josh, for like 1,000,000 hours on stream. We had one stream where we played for 8 hours straight. Although... Was that Angie or Soul? I think it was actually Soul. But there's a lot of footage of us playing Angie versus Venom also. This is super, super important, what you just did. If he is Fusioning at the end of your block strings, you have to start carcassing until he stops. But what you also have to recognize, so this is exactly why you do it, because it's so active and so slow that it lasts long enough that his invuln runs out, because Fujin is not invuln until the active frame. It's just invuln for a starting period, then there's more startup that is not invulnerable, and then it hits you. So you need to hit it in this window, and that's why this is working. Now, what you have to realize with this is that I think the highest level Venom versus Angie is once you start doing this, he can actually wait and react to you doing Carcass and delay the Fujin so that it goes forward. And go through it like this. So something to be aware of, but it's important that you understand the layers here, because the level 1 is absolutely him just Fusioning at the end of your block strings, because it's going to beat Stinger. The other thing you can do actually is you can delay Dubious Curve, and this is also a good option because the reward is super high. So you can also do this. It's alright, we're learning the controls. We'll get back quick. Is that round 2 or round 3? It was this round, right? It was right over here. It was round 3? Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Here it is. Okay. So, how can I show this? Okay. Let's go back to right here. I want to get right to the point where you input the 2D. Perfect. Okay. So you can do this. And what I'm doing here is I'm delaying the Dubious Curve. See, what you have to recognize is that Fujin is not fast. It is slow. So you have time to hit it. You just have to wait for the invuln to end. And the reason that this is ridiculous is because you wind up getting a counter hit point blank. So you can actually just pick them up off the slide. I've been meaning to lab like an optimal pickup for this, because I'm sure there's some ridiculous combo you could do off of this, depending on which ball you do. Actually, I could probably do like something as simple as this. But yeah, this is a really good option for, you know, getting them to stop. If you want maximum reward, the Carcass Raid is also good because you can dash up and get a knockdown. You know, I think you can get close slash depending on where you hit them. Yeah. But the Dubious Curve is like if you want just max punish. Uh-oh. Oh, he mistimed it. Ooh. Alright. So we're going to have to talk a little bit about anti-Angie here. I mean, again, the stuff that you're doing is mostly good. There's some system mechanic stuff. I think I'm going to not watch your third if you don't mind. We've already... I got to get through all of these, and it's already been like over 20 minutes. I want to go back and show you something. So I feel obligated to talk a little bit anti-Angie here, because again, most of the stuff that you're doing is fine. The system mechanic stuff aside, the throw-essing and the faultless jumping, besides that, the Venom specific stuff, I don't see any problems with what you're doing. You're definitely on the right track. There was nothing, let's say, that you were doing that I would... How can I phrase this? That I would recommend you not do. Some of it is preference, like you do different Oki than me, but the Oki you were doing is totally reasonable. That's a preference thing. I didn't see anything wrong with that one exception I showed you with the jump S to make the ball meaty. But other than that, No real, glaring issues with what you're doing. So I've shown this on stream before, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just to recap this quickly, this is my opinion, okay? I think there's probably other opinions on this, but this is my opinion on how to approach Fujin and its kind of wheel of options, okay? So the idea here is that every follow-up is beatable, and it's on you whether you want to take a risk or try to be reactive or, be patient. So the idea is, first of all, jumping. We talked about it a little bit before. If you're going to jump forward. You can jump back, but I would recommend jumping forward. If you ever jump and he does the H or D follow-up, you have to resist the urge to hit a button. You will die. Just faultless. Also realize that this shit hits super high up. Okay? So you might think that you're over it. You are not. Okay? Every time it whiffs against me for a random reason, I'm shocked. But it hits really, really high up. Okay? So the idea here, in my opinion, is that you want to react in the following way, okay? When he does the K follow-up, you want to grab it. When he does the H follow-up, you want to grab it. It is grabbable before it hits you. If he does the D follow-up, you want to try to react and slash back it. And if he does the P follow-up, you want to jump away. So let's just look at some of these. So P follow-up. The ideal reaction here is to jump and hit him. It is easier said than done. Again, this is ideal, okay? I think that this is right at the edge of what is possible because you're trying to react to like 5 or 6 different things here. If you only had one follow-up and you just had to react to it, it would be easy. But the problem is you're trying to react to all of them. So you lose a little bit of reaction time in that. So I'm going to show you the ideal optimal stuff, and then what I'm going to recommend to you is that you choose some of them that you want to look for, okay? This is my approach. I try to see which options the Angie tends to do more, and I look for those, and I sacrifice that if he does some of the other ones, all right, he gets away with it. But the thing is that I want to try to stop him from doing the higher reward ones for him. Okay, so like this P one is low reward. I don't really care about this one. I just usually jump away. But the ideal punish is to jump forward and then either hit him or air grab him. It depends on the distance. So you can see as I move back, this is going to change a little bit. Okay, so that's P. K. This one you want to throw. And you don't have to react quick to this one. You have a lot of time, okay? So this is ideal, and this is one that I do look for specifically because I hate the feeling of letting them get away with this. It feels so bad when they get away with this, right? I'm gonna come back to S. Let's skip S for a second. H. This is another one like P where the distance matters. So you can actually throw this right before it hits you if he is close enough. He can space this to where you're never going to be able to throw it. And in that case, you got to just block high. But the nice thing is you can kind of option select the throw by doing it a little bit late. That way you'll either get it or you'll block. And there's basically no risk to you, and sometimes you'll get a throw. See how sometimes I'm not getting the throw here? Sometimes I'm just blocking. Like there. Okay? So this one is another one that you look for, but they don't generally use this one. Usually if they're going to do this, they'll do the D version, right? So let's talk about the D version. D version you cannot throw. The D version is throw and vuln. So this one, you got to try to slash back. If you want to punish it, it is plus on block. I'm slash backing way too soon. Okay. Now, I see a lot of people in chat. Everyone is going nuts. Well, you just do a low, do a low, do a low. Again, This is my opinion of the best reaction, and let me explain why I suggest this instead of doing a low, okay? Again, you're trying to react to 6 different things here after Fujin. The 5 follow-ups and him doing nothing is another hidden follow-up, okay? So if you are trying to beat the H and the D version with a low, Godspeed, because your low has startup. It has 5, in this case, 5 frame startup. So if you want to try to react to him doing H or D and then react by hitting a low, by all means, if you think you can do that, I agree, that is better than what I just showed. If you can do it and you think you can, by all means, it is better. For me, I found it impractical. I could not react fast enough, and the problem is if you react too slow, you're getting crouching counter hit and you are exploding, okay? The thing with both of these options is that they are low risk. They are high reward, but they're low risk. Because on the H version, I either get the grab or I block. And against the D version, I either block or I get the slash back. Now granted, I was slash backing actually too soon in this recording, so I was getting hit. But in a real match, again, I know what the recording is doing, so I'm slash backing at the wrong timing. But you're naturally reacting a little bit slower, so that it almost helps you time the slash back. So practically, I'm either getting slash back or I'm blocking. It's much lower risk than trying to do a low. Again, if you think you can do a low and you go in training mode and you're able to do it, Godspeed. By all means, knock yourself out. It is better. For me, and what I recommend is what I already explained, okay? Now, the other option is you can just bet. You can just do a low without reacting. If they're just doing the D follow-up every time, or if you just need the hit and you just want to go for it, that is also very reasonable. But realize that the low is going to lose to all of the other follow-ups, basically. It's going to lose to the hop. It's going to lose to him doing the S follow-up, his own low. And potentially, if your low has enough recovery, it's going to lose to the fan follow-up as well, the P follow-up. So yeah. So let's take a second. This wound up being way longer than I wanted it to be, but let's talk about the S follow-up very quickly. The S follow-up is the most nuanced one because he can delay this a lot. So there's basically 2 things to know about this. Number 1 is if he wants it to be, there will be no gap. So this is also why the options that I explained for everything else, all those other options, jumping or grabbing H or slash backing D or grabbing K, they require no commitment. You can theoretically react to all of those. And that's what protects you against this follow-up. So you never get hit by this follow-up. If you just hit the low, expecting him to do the H or the D follow-up, and he just does this, with a slight delay, you will just get counter hit. Did I do no gap? No. Like this. This is the other problem with the low. And if you eat this, especially in the corner, you're in trouble. He can FRC this and get a conversion. In the corner, he doesn't even need to FRC it. Even if he doesn't FRC it, it sets a butterfly. You don't want to get hit by this. It's bad news. So the important things to know about the S follow-up is that it's punishable on block. He can delay it a lot or none at all. So he can make it gapless, or he can make it a small gap, which will counter hit you like I just showed. Or he can make a huge delay, which will trick you if you think he did no follow-up. Look at the delay here. See this? So you think, oh, he didn't do a follow-up, and then you hit a button and you get counter hit. See? Now, if he does do it, he can FRC it, and the FRC point is pretty late. I don't even know that I should attempt to do this because it's very awkward. That was close, but he can FRC it to make himself safe. And it has an extended hurt box, so you can punish it. See, I can actually sweep it. But if he FRCs it, it's going to retract his hurt box, you're going to whiff. So that's basically everything that there is to know. That was way more detailed than I wanted it to be, but yeah. So going back to your general advice, I would say work on your throw OSs. Not even work on it. You must throw OS. That's number 1. Number 2, work on your fuzzy jumping. Make sure you're falsing when you jump. And I think between those two things, you're going to see a big improvement, both in your offense from the throw OS and in your defense, you're going to get hit a lot less. But yeah, so with the Angie thing, I gave you all the information. Again, I recommend just pick a couple to start with. Look for the force break follow-up and just try to slash back it, or the K follow-up and just try to throw it. And then over time, once you get comfortable with those, you can start looking for the other ones. But all right, that was a lot. Let's move on before we're here all night. I gotta figure out a way to do this more concise, but I just can't help myself to give as much information as possible. All right, so this is Rupture, who I think I saw earlier, right? 20 minutes on the first one, 70 minutes on the second one. Yeah, that was yeah, that was a long time. All right, we're gonna make a focused effort to be more concise and just move through these. All right, Rupture is here. More Angie, perfect. Perfect. So we don't have to cover all the anti-Angie stuff again. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, set a time for 20 minutes. Yeah, I wanted to try to keep them to 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so I already see in the first 5 seconds you're a big fan of Jump D, and why wouldn't you be? I don't blame you. If I played Angie, I would abuse the shit out of that broken move too. Okay, so this is a little, I'm gonna call this an inaccuracy. If you're getting a punish like this, you don't want to start with 5K. And this is a general Guilty Gear thing, not even necessarily an Angie thing. Let me look at the frame data. But in general, punches and kicks have forced proration. So this is maybe a good thing to talk about that some newer players probably don't know about. This has to do with how the combo system works in Guilty Gear. Oh, 5K does not have proration, so fuck me, I guess. Disregard what I said. For Angie specifically. I think for Venom it does. I think actually, let me think for a second. I think 5K is pretty character specific. 2K universally, I believe, has proration. 2P as well, I think, is universal. Although it looks like 2P for Angie is also not. Let me look at Venom for a second. Yeah, Venom's prorate. So yeah, Angie, does Angie have force proration on anything? What the hell? Maybe it's just not listed? 2P, 2K, let's see. Okay, 2P and 2K do, but his standing P and standing K don't. How does he not have proration on 5P? Why? What? Anyway, alright. Oh shit, you're playing as Order Soul. Word. Okay. Alright, I see. My bad. But anyway, this is still a lesson we can all learn. Even though in this case it was fine for Angie, he doesn't have proration on this. Still, I think it would be better to start with close slash. He could get a way better combo. But for the people who don't know what proration is, basically the way it works is if you start your combo with a move that prorates, it weakens the damage on the entire rest of your combo. So for example, a very common proration amount is 80%. So let's say your 2P has 80% proration. If you start your combo with 2P, your entire combo does 80% damage. You're basically losing 20% just for starting with that move. And the idea is that it's supposed to balance out some moves because they are good combo starters. So that's why 2K, basically universally, I don't know if there's any exception, I would think it's universal. 2K is basically always a prorating starter. There's a lot of other common prorated moves, but 2P and 2K are the most common ones. The other thing to know is some moves are called forced prorate when you look at the frame data. So regular proration only applies as the first hit of the combo. So for example, if I were to do, like, if I was Angie here, we just learned that his 5P does not have forced prorate, or it does not have prorate. So if we were to do 5P 2P, we would be fine. Because even though the 2P has proration, it does not, wait, does it have force proration? I'm not explaining this very well. But that's okay, we'll get through it. Is his, no, it's only initial prorate. So So yeah, so if you do 5P, 2P, you would be fine. You would get no proration on your combo because the 2P was not the first hit. However, if the 2P was forced proration, then it applies to the rest of the combo. So the idea is that a move that has forced proration, no matter where it is in the combo, once you hit it, the whole rest of the combo is going to prorate. So just something to be aware of. You kind of want to know your character's proration moves, and when you're punishing something, you want to avoid using those moves because you're just losing damage, basically. So anyway, all right, let's go back and let's look at Order Soul. My bad, Rupture. You said more Angie, so I just assumed you were playing Angie. I like the 6K. Whoa, what was this, Rupture? Since you're here, I'll ask you. Were you just trying to Umeshore like a Fujin or a poke or something, or was this a missed input? Hard call? Okay. I mean, that's fine. I don't know that I would recommend it, but, you know, as long as you are aware that you're looking for something, it's fine. I just realized, let me pause this for a second. I should have looked, I mean, you're here, so it doesn't really matter, but let me look at your notes. Gotcha, okay. Okay. So Rupture says he feels like he's stuck in the just do stuff kind of mentality. So let's maybe look at that. The thing is, for a character like Order Soul, it's probably pretty easy to fall into that trap because you are just kind of stuck going in all the time. But it's good that you recognize that because you don't want to get stuck with that. Oh man, that is unfortunate. Okay, nice confirm. Oh wait, it didn't combo. It was not a nice confirm. Oh, that was the replay bug. Okay, that was the replay bug. It was a nice confirm. I wonder if he could have shook out of that though. This was techable, I think, just so you know. Did you choose to not tech here, or did you not know that this was techable? Didn't know? Okay, yeah. This is not a knockdown. This is a common thing with Angie. Not only was this not a knockdown, it's really not even close. Look at how high you can tech. Sometimes he just can't really get a knockdown on his air throws. He has some routes that can knock down, but they're very hard and very specific. So when you just see a generic air combo like this, it's basically always going to be techable. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll combo into Orb and then RC it and use that to get a knockdown. But yeah, you should look for this because you don't want to get knocked down by Angie if you don't have to be knocked down, you know? I like this. I like the change of pace and just building some charge. Nice, I like that too. I actually really like this. This is a very simple thing, but I actually like this a lot because you hit this counter hit and he's so far away that the odds of you getting, like the odds of him not shaking out of the stagger were pretty low. I think it's fair to assume that the opponent is going to shake out of this stagger. So going for a follow-up, you probably still could have gotten pressure, and maybe you hit him, you know, maybe he's mashing out, and you hit him after the mash out, but I kind of like just the safe, solid, just take the time and just build some charge. I actually like this. Maybe this is, you know, Ryan the Venom player speaking, the risk-adverse player, but, you know, if he was closer, I wouldn't be saying that, because it's more likely that you actually get a follow-up, but, from that range specifically, I like that you went for the charge. All right, there's a gun blaze. So this is, I think, what you were talking about in your notes. Alright, so I have some stuff that we'll talk about in training mode after this. I want to make sure we get through the replays. Okay, he was respecting your DP, so you kind of got away with some light Oki. Whoa. Hold on, what was this? Oh. The throw-in Vuln we were talking about before came up. He did hop, and then he tried to throw you, and the throw-in Vuln on 2H. And you counter hit him. Unbelievable. I cannot say I recommend this, but it worked. But man, that is that's something. Yeah, so I think you already know, again, you mentioned this in your note, I think you recognize that you're using Gunblaze too much and in the wrong places. This is like a very glaring example. So maybe let's take a second and just talk about, this range, right? Because the impression that I'm getting is that you get into this range and you know you have to go in. You're playing Order Soul, and you don't really, your instinct is to Gunblaze to close the gap. So I think it's important. It's really great that you recognize this, and I know that you recognize this because you mentioned it. So let's talk about this in two layers. First of all, let's talk about the layer one of just what your options are, but let's also talk about just good a learning experience for how to learn, right? Because the fact that you recognize that this is a problem, basically what we're doing now is something that you should try to train yourself to be able to do on your own. Because recognizing the problem is the first step, and it's the most important step. So you recognize the problem, so now you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm gunblazing too much. Let's look at some of the spots that I'm gunblazing and figure out why I'm doing it, and then try to figure out alternatives for what I could be doing instead, right? So from this range, what could we do? Let's just spitball. What are some options that we could do from this range that are not gunblaze? And I will accept answers from the class here. There's a bunch of really simple ones, honestly. It's actually kind of funny as I'm thinking about it, because certainly not to make fun of you or anything like that, but there's almost no wrong answer here. Almost anything you do from this range is going to be a good option. And Gunblaze happens to be one of the few things that's actually not a good option. So it's just, again, it's just a good observation that you noticed this, and it's great because it's easy to fix. It should be easy to fix. Yeah, so I'm seeing most of what I was thinking. So yeah, I think Rocket is the one that I want to talk about first, because again, if part of your problem here is that it's instinctual to you that you want to close the gap by moving forward, I would work on replacing that instinct in your brain, where the move that does that is Rocket, not Gunblaze. So in all of these spots where you're trying to close the gap with Gunblaze, just close the gap with Rocket instead, and your success rate will go way up. Now, with that said, that's what I would start with, because that's an easy replacement. But we still want to talk about other options, because you don't only want to do Rocket in these spots. It is still, even if you were already doing Rocket in all these spots, that in itself would be not good. I don't want to say bad. It is kind of bad though, because you don't want to be doing the same thing in the same situation every time, right? So you want to have options. You want to be able to do different things. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where you need options already prepared so that when your opponent adapts, you have another layer to go to. You can pay attention to their adaptation, and you already have something else to move on to. Exactly, it makes you predictable. So, again, for now, the first thing I would do is try to mentally replace the urge to Gunblaze with the urge to Rocket. But then beyond that, I would try to reel that in and have some other options. So what are other options here? So we could do player 2. We could do ID jump H. You can't go wrong with ID jump H. You could also do jump H. Just can't go wrong. This is just, you know, tried and tested and, you know, will stand the test of time. Obviously, it is risky, but it is low risk, high reward, in my opinion. Somebody mentioned far slash. This is a great option also. Low risk, low reward, but low risk. And again, you want to have multiple options to make all of your options better, actually. This is something else that I wanted to talk about. Not right now, but just in general. A really important topic, in my opinion, but save that for another time. Let's look at a couple more options. You don't have to go in. You could do this. Just try to get them to flinch, right? You don't even need to hold the charge. Just do it for a second, just to get them to squirm, you know? They might come to you. You don't have to always go in. That's one of the nice things about Older Soul, is that he has this tool that if they are literally running from you, you could say, okay, well, if you want to run from me, then I'm just going to make it worse when I do get in, right? What else? I mean, I would say those are probably the main ones. And that's probably more than enough to get you started. You could also experiment with like 5H. You know, there's just various stuff, but I would say those are probably the main options. But yeah, I think that's a really really important thing for Order Soul, is to vary, because again, he has to go in. So mixing up the methods that you use to get in is very important, for sure. See, like right there, you were doing rocket, and you were getting in. And see, so actually, here's one more thing. So this is actually really important also. So you did rocket, far slash rocket, right? And then he was blocking. And then what I take from this is that you already did 2 rockets. You're like, I gotta do something else, right? I gotta do something different. Which, we can talk about whether or not that's true. That may or may not be true. But let's just say it's true. Don't forget, one option that we actually didn't talk about a second ago is there's also this option. Just run up. If they are being too patient, just run up to them. You know, you can do very simple, you know, I got mashed on there by the dummy, but you know, just very simple. I wonder if I could do like, this is actually kind of cool that he's mashing, because you know, simple stuff. You don't have to get fancy with this character, you know? And so if you smell the blood in the water, and you smell them getting patient on you. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Don't do that. Oh, you could also do like, oh, this is a good one too. What is the motion for Fafnir? Oh, it's half circle. This is good too, right? The idea is, again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier in one of the previous replays. You need to, I cannot stress the importance of this enough. Fighting games are all about awareness, being aware of what your opponent is doing, and then moving to the appropriate level to take advantage of what they are doing. In this very finite period of time, your opponent was being patient, and we know that because he just blocked rocket far slash rocket, and he is scared for his life. I could just see it immediately. And so when you sense that, you need to, let's put it this way. If you knew that your opponent was going to block for the next 2 seconds, because you sense the hesitation, what is the absolute best thing you could do? Run up in their face, right? Run up in their face. If you think that they are not going to hit a button and they're not going to move, but they're also not going to get hit by anything, because if we just stick something out, you're just going to block it, right? Run up to his face. And the nice thing is you can turn it on its head very quickly with this character, because when you run up in his face, in his mind, he's going, oh shit, I just let him in. And it's going to be very common that they're going to say to themselves, well, I can't, you know, now he's taking advantage of me. Now he's just running all over me. Now I got to be a little more aggressive, a little more assertive, they're going to hit a button. Like in the way the recording is, he's hitting 2P. So what I'm getting at here is you want to be constantly, it's like a seesaw, right? So you tilted him one way, you tilted your opponent in one direction, and he's blocking. So now you want to intentionally tilt him back and keep him off balance. So you run in his face, you do something, like in this case, I would do this in a match. I would do sweep into just quick stance cancel. That's going to tilt him back. He's going to want to flinch. He's going to see the sweep. He's going to see the stance cancel. He's going to want to hit a button. And then Fafnir. And boom, you cash out. You got his guard meter jacked up. You get a huge cash out. Huge damage. So, but the fundamental idea here is that you need to constantly be monitoring what your opponent is doing and trying to adjust your gameplay to the appropriate level to take advantage of what he's doing. If this was the opposite, and he's mashing and he's not blocking, then exactly what you did is exactly right. I would just keep doing rocket. If he's mashing and he's not being patient, counter hit rocket, or counter hit far slash, or something like that, or just do Fafnir, counter hit Fafnir. But the fact that you could sense the hesitation here in this brief moment, the best thing you can do is just run up to him. So yeah, hopefully that's instructive, not only in this case, but that's just a general fighting game thing. Rocket works really well against the Stomp. So this Gunblaze was not that bad. Oh, but I had to rewind it because I wasn't sure if you reacted to the butterfly. It doesn't look like you did. If you react to butterfly, Gunblaze is pretty reasonable. Because it'll go through the butterfly. That is unfortunate. See, here's another good example. And I love what you did. This is a perfect example. Look at the patience. Your opponent's being patient, and you just did exactly what I just described. You just did it. I don't know if you realize that. You tilted him one way, right? He was being patient. You took advantage of that to a small degree, but you took advantage of that by doing rocket, getting a little bit of risk, getting a little bit of chip, right? And then this is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. He blocked 2 rockets, and in his mind he goes, "This motherfucker is just gonna rocket me forever. I have to do something." Whether or not that's true is a whole nother discussion, but he felt like he needed to, and that's what counts. And so this was great because you were patient, and this is a horrible spot. He just put himself in a bad spot. You have now whether or not, I don't even remember. I think we already saw it, but I wasn't paying attention. I don't even know if you got anything off of this, but recognize that this is an opportunity for you. So whether or not we're about to see if you capitalize off this opportunity doesn't matter, and you don't get points docked for missing out on the opportunity. You get points for creating the opportunity. The more opportunities like this, and again, this is not an Order Soul thing, this is a fighting game thing. You want to create opportunities like this. Angie being above you like this, he's already double jumped. You have huge opportunities for an anti-air, an air throw, some combination of damage plus knockdown. And the more opportunities like this you create, the higher your win percentage is going to be. Just full stop. So this is fantastic. So you didn't get anything off of it in this case. I mean, Angie does have air options here, but you created the opportunity. And the more of those you create, you will convert off of some of them. So let me pause it for a second because I see you guys talking about one thing. Yeah, so talking about the confirm off of 5H, I don't want to talk too much about stuff like that because that's just, that's just a combo. I don't really think you need my input on that. I'll say what I said before. If you're having trouble with certain combos that are a little more technically challenging, work on them in your spare time and just have a substitute combo for now. In this case, with the ID combo, sometimes there is no substitute. That's fine. Just, go for it. Just know that if you drop it, it's not that big of a deal. That's not a strategy thing. That's not really, something that you need my help with. If there's a case where it's an executional thing that I can recommend a way to help with the execution, I'll say something, but that's a that's a straightforward combo. You either know it and you can do it, or you don't and you can't. So really, there's no other way than to just practice it. Peripheral. I think it's going to be too late for this session because these are going longer than I kind of wanted them to. But I'll be doing them again next week, so you can certainly get in the queue and you'll be first in line for next week. What a clash. This was, oh, okay, yeah. You got lucky there. So here's another little thing that you can work on. So I'm assuming, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you did jump K here because you saw him in the air and you thought he was maybe going to be above you. Is that true? Because I don't see another reason why you would hit jump K here. It looks like you saw that he was already in the air, so you ID'd, or you air dashed after your jump, and then you had a challenge. Okay, so the only thing I would recommend is I think this is totally reasonable because it did look like he was going to be above you. Obviously, jump P is a little bit of a better air-to-air button, but jump P actually might have missed here on Angie, so I don't hate the jump K here. In general, you probably do want to use jump P for this though, but regardless, the most important thing when you are trying to air-to-air someone with this character, you should always be hit confirming into DP. So you got nothing off of this, and I consider this nothing. 2 hits, this is negligible. You didn't get a knockdown, you didn't get significant damage, you didn't get any special charge meter, you got nothing basically. If you would have just confirmed this into a DP, you would have gotten more. So anytime you are in an air-to-air situation or a potential air-to-air situation, you should always be trying to hit confirm 2 to 3 hits into DP. So yeah, just something else to keep in mind that you can work on. So yeah. So that was both replays. I feel like there was one other thing, but I think we covered it in the replay. I'm trying to think. I think we covered it in the replay. There was something I was thinking of, and then we saw examples, and I covered it in the replay. So yeah. Overall, though, good stuff. Some of the stuff that I talked about earlier with Order Soul, I think you could stand to benefit from also. But I agree with your original assessment that you just need to fix some of your approaches. You need to tighten up your approaches a little bit and just look at and practice other options from mid-range. Yeah, no worries, Rupture. No worries, man. So, all right, let's keep it moving. All right, so we have a second Venom here. This is Wirdal. Let me see the notes here. No notes. He was the one person that did not provide additional notes. They were optional, obviously. Okay, so this is review. Wirdal. Venom. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, I limited it to 2 to 3, or at least I tried to. In the form, I couldn't make it so that you could submit less than 5. But I wrote to only submit 2 to 3, and everybody did, so. Let's see this again. Ooh, let me see this. So I'm guessing, is Wirdal here? I'm thinking that he's not. I don't think I've seen him. He is here. Maybe he's not, he's in chat. Maybe he's not actually here, though. I'm going to assume here that he was trying to throw and accidentally got 1H instead of 4H. Which, if that's the case, that's fine. I think throwing here is totally fine. In general, though, you want your punish to be close slash. That is like your go-to when you're punishing something, when you're punishing a DP or something like this, anything that's punishable point blank, you want your punish to be close slash. Okay, so here's another quick thing. I would avoid using 5P like this. For partially this reason, but also because it is pretty slow relative to what you would probably expect for a P button. Off the top of my head, I want to say it is 7 frames. I'm going to double check that. It's either 6 or 7. I believe it's 7 though. I think 2P is 6. 2P is 7. 5P is 6. I had them backwards. But yeah, it is pretty slow. The hitbox is not great. I would just avoid using this. There are some advanced uses for it later, but I would, I wouldn't worry about that for right now. I would stick to using this basically only to hit balls. That's basically it. Until you get into some of the more advanced stuff. In this kind of situation, when you're dashing up to someone and you need a fast button, I would stick to 2K or 2S. 2K if you can get in close enough, and 2S if you're more at like this range and you want a fast button, 2S. So yeah, I would try to get this out of your game for now. So, yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Venom strings here. So 2H, I am wondering now if that 2H from before was a throw or it wasn't, because here you're using 2H again. This is another button that I would avoid using. Again, for now, because I'm getting the impression you're a little bit newer. For now, I would just literally cut 5P and 2H out of your game. Both of those buttons are very nuanced. 5P used to hit balls, but in pressure, I would just basically never use either of those buttons. They have very specific uses, and even like 2H specifically, there's almost no reason to use this button in pressure. There's basically no reason. The only time, honestly, that I use this button in pressure is just when I want to do something different. Because really there's no quality about this move that makes it better than anything else. Like in this spot, close slash would have been infinitely better for a million different reasons. So the only reason that I really ever use 2S is just because I want to try to confuse my opponent a little bit, just for that brief moment of them trying to realize or recognize what I'm doing. And that is like a very nuanced thing, So again, for now, starting out, I would just cut it out of your game. I would stick to 2K, close slash, 2S, and 2D, and maybe 5H here and there. But even that, I would wait to work in. Really, you only need those other 4 buttons. Yo, Ringe. Thank you, man. I would only basically work on 2K, close slash, 2S, and 2D. Yeah, Seth, no problem, man. My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, if you want to submit more again, by all means, man, you can submit again. What I would actually recommend, and this goes for everyone that I'm reviewing, what I would recommend is take a week or two, try to work on the stuff that I've pointed out, and then submit again, and we'll keep going. We'll see how your progression goes. But yeah, for any new Venom, not only Wirdal here, just anybody that's trying to start with Venom, I would try to limit your block strings to those 4 buttons. And believe me, those 4 buttons, if you watch my matches, that's all you're going to see, basically. You don't really need much more than that. You don't have to get fancy with it. So there's really just not enough benefit to using a button like 2H in this way, in pressure. So actually, I want to go back for one more second, talk about this for 2 more seconds. as I just saw the end of the string, I immediately realize why you're doing this. It makes so much sense, of course. I see you have to DeltaWave, thank you, man. I've played this game for so long that I have to make an effort to put myself in a beginner's shoes, because some things like this, it's so obvious now, but it wasn't obvious to me a minute ago of why you would do this. So the reason that he's doing this is because, and this is great, he realizes that he wants to be doing Carcass Raid in his pressure. And for those of you who are not familiar with Venom, Carcass Raid is this downwards ball hit here, where yo, Ryan, thank you. Thank you guys for the subs, appreciate it. Carcass Raid is this downwards ball hit that is, I've said this a million times, and I love the word, so I'm going to say it again. It's the cornerstone of Venom. He would not exist without this move. This is the move that defines Venom. It's the move that you want to be doing mostly on block, and it's like a sonic boom, basically. So going back, what you have to recognize is that this move is a flash kick input. It's a down charge and then up and slash. So why would a Venom do 2H? Of course, it's so obvious now. He wants to build a down charge. And if you're just starting out, this is a good way to build a down charge because it's a 2-hit normal, it gives you plenty of time, and then just like he did, you go into sweep, and boom, you have your down charge for Stinger, or for Carcass, excuse me. So, I get it. I totally get it. Now going back to what I was saying a minute ago, still I recommend you work on different block strings. 2H is just not good enough. Even though it makes it easy to get your down charge, you should still try to use... Okay, let me back up a second, make sure I go slow here. So, with 2H, the benefit of doing 2H in terms of getting a down charge is that it is easy because it's 2 hits, right? But, and this is why I said before, there's really no upside to 2H. It doesn't do anything that you can't accomplish in another way. So in this exact spot, if we want to do something simple, that's 2 hits, that lets us build a down charge, we could do 2K, 2S, and then do the same 2D that you did. And we will get the same 2 hits that we got, but it's faster, 2K is faster, it's a low, and in the future, as we get into more advanced stuff, it'll give you more options, whereas 2H has very few options. It can only be special canceled, or canceled into 5D or 2D, and that is it. So there are just, if you look at the pros and cons, the pros are just stacked to the ceiling with 2K, and there's just like almost none with 2H. And there's a lot of downsides to using 2H. So again, if you're having trouble with some of the more advanced Venom block strings, at least switch over to using 2K, 2S, 2D. And if you want that to be your go-to first block string, that is already leaps and bounds better than 2H. Okay? Once you get comfortable with that, then you want to start looking at close slash. And I think with a little bit of practice, you can start to incorporate that as well. Something simple like 2K, 2 hits of close slash, and then to make it easier to get the charge, you can do 1 hit of sweep. And it is more than enough time to get a down charge once you get comfortable with it. I think if you spend 15-20 minutes in training mode, you should be able to do that pretty consistently. And again, I cannot stress enough how much better both of those 2 strings are than this 2H 2D string. So it makes a huge difference. Oh, and here, this is great. This is great. Here's another perfect example of why you gotta get 5P out of your instinct when you want a fast button. One of the problems that I touched on before with 5P, I said it has a bad hitbox. Here's an example. It actually whiffs on a lot of characters crouching, even point blank like this. The Maze of the World, the Fausts, all these little tiny, annoying characters. Cliff obviously here, so you gotta get this out. If you had hit 2k here instead of 5p, you'd have counter hit him actually. So perfect example. Nice. I like the back to the wall force break stinger to make room. Very good. And alright, this is like a whole topic in itself. We definitely don't have time for this. And I think it's maybe even beyond where you should be looking right now. But for the future, this is not a great zoning formation for a 2-ball formation. I have a video on this. You can look up, I think it's exclamation beginner formations, and I talk about really good, easy formations to start with for zoning with Venom. So I don't necessarily recommend that you look at them right now. Maybe you want to just watch the video for future reference, and maybe you are interested in looking at this now, but I would start with the other stuff first and come back to this in maybe a couple of weeks. But this formation is not very good for zoning specifically. When you have this much room, this is not a formation I would use. And you can see exactly why. The spots that these balls covered did not help you in any way. So yeah. Yeah. Great punish. Oh, excellent, excellent. It's almost like you went back in time and you've already followed my advice. Fantastic. So maybe I didn't give Wirdal enough credit. Maybe he's more experienced than it looked like at first glance. There you go. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's like this replay is learning in real time. This is also the... See, before you did PK, here you did KP. That's the better formation. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. He was just getting warmed up, apparently. This is already way better than round 1. Yo, Deb. What's up? Have you been playing Lost Soul this entire time? Or did you wind up doing something else? He missed the attack. You just finished? You've been playing Lost Soul this whole time? I don't know how you have the fortitude to not only play against Elfelt for that long, but to play against Elfelt in delay-based netcode for that long. Let me pause it for a second, actually. So, welcome all the raiders. What we're doing right now is I have a channel reward, a channel redemption, where you can redeem points, and then there's a form, and you can submit +R replays to me. And this is the first session I'm doing, but I'm planning on doing this once a week, where I go through... Oh my god, another raid. Well, let me... I was just explaining something. Horse raid. Yo, what's up, Obama? Oh boy. How are the horses doing? Stables full? So I just got raided a second ago by Deb as well. So I'll back up a second. I was explaining what we're doing right now. Hello to all the new viewers. What we're doing right now is I just started a channel redemption option where you can redeem points, and then there's a short form where you can submit +R replays to me. And this is my first session, but I'm planning on doing this once a week, where I then go through the replays and I give you feedback, give you suggestions, tips for improvement, things that I noticed that I think you should improve on or could improve on. And yeah, and that's it. And then in the form you can specify, in case you miss the review stream, I can notify you via DM on Twitch, and I will give you a link to the timestamp of your review. So if you're interested in improving and you play +R, by all means submit replays. Oh, also, So there's channel points, but also I've been working with Sajam's Discord with Solid Bones and Trinity, who run tournaments out of Sajam's Discord, and they do a beginner tournament for Plus R every other week. And I commentated it last time, which was almost 2 weeks ago now, with a heavy emphasis on learning, where we went into training mode after basically every match, and I was showing, you know, some stuff in training mode for the player's benefit. If you enter one of those tournaments and you do not get highlighted on stream, because we try to get as many people on stream as we can, then also you may submit through the form, and you don't have to do the channel points. You can just submit. So just tell me which tournament you entered, and you can submit. Yeah, I'm really happy with it so far, Deb. I think it's a great way to, you know, help people that are looking for improvement. I feel like a lot of newer and intermediate players, they want to get better and they don't know how. They don't know where they should be looking to improve. They've learned their combos, they know pressure, they know the basics, and now they're just at a plateau where they're not really sure. And in a lot of cases, there's very simple things that if you fix them or change them or improve them, it goes a long way. It's gonna improve your win percentage by just an absolute you know, monster amount. Oh, nice, Ringe. Thank you. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. Thank you. So anyway, so this is my first session. We're actually on the second to last review. We've done 4 so far. There were 6 tonight. I thought they were going to take like 10 to 15 minutes, but I just can't help myself. They've been about 20 to 30 minutes each so far. So, you know, we're just going to roll with it. We'll see. I do want to try to make them shorter in the future, but sometimes I just see stuff and I get caught up. So, but right now we're looking at Wirdal, who submitted these, and we just talked a lot about Venom block strings and how to start approaching Venom block strings. I need an exclamation Fujin command? Yeah, probably. It's funny you say that. I have some ideas with that, actually. We're going to talk about that after the reviews, I think. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so definitely the advice I was giving you was at first maybe I didn't know your level yet, because the fact that you just went for that, obviously you're a little bit beyond what I was saying before, but I think it still applies. The fact that you were using 2H at all, you still do need to fix, but it looks like you already know the better strings that you could be doing. I mean, this 5P thing is murdering you. You got to fix the 5P thing. Here's another, it just whiffed. You got to be hitting 2K here instead of 5P. You gotta literally lobotomize yourself and remove 5P from your memory. You gotta just pretend 5P doesn't exist. Only use it to hit balls. You can come back to 5P, like literally. I cannot, like, how can I say this? Believe me when I say, I did not start using 5P in pressure or combos for the first 7 years that I played Guilty Gear and I played Venom. Okay? I played Venom for 7 years and I never used this button ever except to hit balls. Okay? It was maybe even more than that. It was not until I started getting good in Exerd, which was not even the beginning of Exerd. I really was not very good at the beginning of Exerd. Even at the end of Exerd, I was very good, but that's different. But yeah, the nuance of how to use 5P and pressure is a very small thing. So for now, just forget that it exists. Honestly. We'll see, Dev. We'll see. I appreciate that though. You're pretty consistent on that punish. That punish is hard. So, okay, so it's somewhere, I feel, in between. I feel like we're somewhere in between my initial assessment after Game 1, Round 1, and where we are now, where clearly what I was saying at the very beginning, you're a little bit beyond, but this is another example of this is just like not a thing. You would just never do this. I'm not sure if there was something else you were going for here, but there's just like no reason to do this. If I'm not mistaken, there's not even a gap here. So this is just a straight up gapless mid, and you just basically remove all of your good options for pressure here, because you can't build a charge, and your only real option is to teleport or dubious curve. So you would literally, like, I would never ever ever do this in pressure like this. I'm just trying to think if there's like any exception to this, but I don't even think so. Yeah, I would just remove this from your pressure as well. So here's another thing that, well, this is a Venom thing. This is like a classic Venom thing. You clearly thought you did P-ball here, and you were trying to hit the ball. So maybe we'll come back to this, but, yo, Ruffian, thank you for the raid, man. How you guys doing tonight? You know, Dr. Darling, it's funny you said that, because I had never, again, I've been playing Venom for like 15 years. I didn't know that either. I literally just saw that like a couple of days ago. I was looking at something in slow motion, and I didn't know that he flipped the Q around like that. It's so sick. I thought he just went like this. I didn't know that. But yeah, it's super sick. But yeah, this, not a big deal. You thought you summoned a different ball. Not a big deal. What I do want to point out here, though, is that I've not been seeing that many anti-airs. So you might want to also focus a lot on slowing down a little bit and giving yourself opportunities to anti-air. This is something that I struggled with a little bit when I first started playing, again, a million years ago, because I was a beginner as well. And my mindset was, if I'm not doing something, I'm not being optimal, right? I need to be doing something all the time, whether it's moving forward, moving back, summoning a ball, poking, air dashing. I thought that there was a right thing to do in every situation. And I think that there is generally a right thing to do in every situation, but the flaw in my logic was that sometimes the right thing is to do nothing. And it took me a long time to realize that. And especially for Venom, because he relies on... So let's take a step back even. What is Venom's game plan, right? What is Venom trying to do? How does he win games? He controls the ground, he controls space, and he forces the opponent to come to him most of the time. There are exceptions to that, but thank you for the sub, Jay Hensel. Appreciate it. So the way that he capitalizes off of this is he forces the opponent to engage him in a way that, if he's ready, is at his advantage. And usually that way is by jumping or air dashing, like exactly what we're seeing here, which is why I'm talking about it right now. So, you summoned a ball, your opponent jumped, they saw the ball summon, they air dashed. You have to give yourself opportunities to capitalize off of the opponent trying to get to you as a Venom player. And in a lot of cases, that means doing nothing. And yes, sometimes that also means you will hesitate and give them an opportunity to air dash, and instead of doing that, they will just run up in your face. And it sucks. But you have to do it sometimes, because getting anti-airs like this is how you win games with Venom. It's very hard to win just strictly on the ground, especially as you get into higher level play. Can we appreciate the Chanel belt Venom wears? Yeah, classic. So just something that I would try to pay attention to is, try to look at your opponents. Again, this goes back to what I've been saying over and over. Look at your opponent. Like here, your opponent is just jumping and air dashing you constantly. Slow down. Here again, slow down. Let him come to you and anti-air him. If your opponent is jumping, again, this goes back to the seesaw that we were talking about before, right? You control the ground aggressively, and you tip the seesaw, and you force them to get off the ground. But once you tip the seesaw and they get off the ground, you have to stop controlling the ground and start controlling the air. And I'm not saying it's easy. It is easier said than done. This is a hard thing to adjust at the right time. You know, pressure them enough to get them into the air and then stop. This is subtle. This is, you know, fighting games. But this is what your goal should be. So, also you're summoning a lot of K-Ball. Again, 5P. 2H, no! The bad buttons. You're using a lot of K-Ball as a single ball, and, you know, then you're trying to hit it and not hitting it, which that's just an experience thing. You'll get more comfortable with the balls. You know, you shouldn't worry about that too much. Nice punish. Nice simple combo. All right, some simple Oki. So just real quick, again, this is fine. This is totally reasonable Oki. But you didn't really do a mix-up here. You did a mid. You should look to take advantage of these Oki situations. Sometimes you want to do something like this. There are situations. But in general, you want to look to either land and low with 2K or air dash for an overhead. Because obviously, there was actually no way for him to get hit by this because he was blocking the ball. It's gapless. There's no way he's going to get hit by this. You gotta resist the urge, Ringe. Oh, nice. Okay. So here also, unless I missed it maybe, I think this is the first time we're seeing you do 2P. Again, I would treat this exactly the same as 5P. I would remove it from your brain. This to me, for a you know, beginner to intermediate Venom, this is a ball hitting button, and that's it. You use this to hit balls that are in that area, and that's it. You don't use it for pressure, you don't use it for anything else. It's not an Abare button, it's not a combo button, it's a button that you use to hit balls, and that's it. In this spot, I would have hit 2K or 2S. If you're looking to, like here, you could have done 2K. If you're trying to just control that space and keep them from moving in preemptively, I would use 2S. Oof. Okay, good wake-up throw. Okay, the 5P hit there, still not good, but at least it hit. That was ridiculous. This is 2S, right? This is Cliff's 2S. It, I guess, has low invuln. I think I knew that, but it doesn't really come up that often. I'm curious how much low invuln. This is obviously pretty detailed, but I'm just curious. You did nothing wrong here, by the way. If it needs to be mentioned, you did nothing wrong here. Foot invuln. It's not even low body invuln. That makes it even worse. Oh, it is low body invuln, just later. Okay, it is low body invuln. It's foot invuln from 4 to 14, lower body invuln from 30 to 32, and then leg. Oh, it's listed all weird. Foot invuln 4 to 14, leg invuln 15 to 26, lower body invuln 30 to 32. Weird. Yeah, you did nothing wrong here. This is just unfortunate. There's nothing wrong with what you did here. I would do this 10 times out of 10. Nothing wrong with that. That was just unfortunate. I guess it's worth mentioning, if you're playing a Cliff and they are doing that seemingly intentionally, consistently, then I would just do close slash. Skip the 2K and just do close slash. But, I mean, I can't imagine a Cliff actually doing that. But I guess I'll say it for the sake of completeness. So here's another opportunity to anti-air, although he did jump D, but... Oh, jeez. Okay, good. Got out of the corner. He tricked you. That's okay. He spent a lot of meter for that one hit. Not a big deal. Man, he is just drilling you to death. What's actually crazy is, again, there's nothing wrong with this. So you've already shown that you can punish it. It's actually crazy that he's still doing the drill this much. But what I would say is, again, this is again the seesaw, but it's the seesaw from the other direction, where he is drilling a lot, and you are getting hit by it. So you now need to make an adjustment, and that adjustment needs to be slow down, let him drill, and then punish it. We've already seen you have the punish on deck. You just need to apply it more. And if he's drilling non-stop like this, just don't do anything. Let him hang himself. Sometimes the right answer is let them hang themselves. 5P. My guess is that you probably played a lot of characters early on that 5P didn't whiff on crouching, and so you kind of developed a bad habit, unfortunately. But you're going to have to fix it. You're going to have to fix it. But yeah, overall, not bad, man. Not bad. I think if you fix those couple of little things, obviously you need to work on your pressure, and that's like a whole thing in itself with Venom. There's, I could write books on Venom's pressure, but just fundamentally, just getting those bad buttons, 5P, 2P, and 2H out of your pressure will just immediately make your pressure way better. So, all right, so that's going to do it for Wirdal. So our last one, I saved this one for last intentionally because I expected this one to go long. They've all gone long, but this is actually Hotashi, who, if you don't know, has been playing Plus R for a couple months now, but he's playing Robokai, and it's really thrown him for a loop because Robokai is a lot different of a style of character than what he's used to. He's been playing Elfelt for the last 5 years, and Elfelt requires a certain set of skills and doesn't have a certain set of skills, and Robokai is flush with that set of skills that he, never even had to consider with Robokai. Resource management to this high of a degree, stuff like that. Much more nuanced combo choice, stuff like that. It's not nearly as nuanced with a character like Elfelt. So he's been, going through the journey, and so he wanted to submit some matches. I've already, a bunch of people, myself included, have already been having a lot of discussions with him and giving him a lot of feedback on his gameplay, giving him suggestions. So this review might be a little bit different because a lot of stuff I've already talked to him about. The reason partially he submitted these to me was also because we were talking about these matches, because obviously I play him all the time. You can see that his opponent here is Hirsch, and I just realized I need to make a marker. Let me do that super quick. Yeah, as I was saying, his opponent here is Hirsch, and this is going to be both beneficial to him and me, because one of the things he mentioned to me was that Hirsch was hitting him with a lot of match struggle, and I was curious about that because he blocks most of my match struggles. So I was curious where Hirsch was doing it. I was hoping I could maybe get some ideas to, incorporate into my own pressure. Some new things that I could implement into my pressure. So this is going to be kind of for both of us. So yeah, so this is Hotashi playing Robokai versus Hirsch's Venom. So this matchup is pretty interesting because this is an example. It's actually really funny because this matchup is actually, in a weird way, similar to Elfelt versus Venom, where it's one of the few matchups, the very few matchups, where Venom cannot just run away. He does not want to be full screen. He actually needs to stay in a reasonable distance to have the ability to pressure Robokai, because Robokai setting mats and building meter is better for Robokai than Venom setting up balls and hitting balls is for Venom. They're both good, but it's better for Robo-Kai than it is for Venom. So Venom actually does not want to play that game. He wants to stay like in far/slash range and prevent him from getting free meter, essentially. And it's kind of analogous to Elfelt, where if Venom tries to move back to full screen, she's just going to one-up him and just pull out the rifle, and he cannot play that game. He needs to stay in far/slash range and actually play a mid-range game against her. So it's actually extremely similar in that regard. And so you can see here, what did I do? What did Hirsch do right away? He, you know, hit him with far/slash. So you got to keep him off the mats, basically. Did he try to sting her? I need to remember that I'm like watching Hirsch, because I want to like see what Hirsch was doing. I have to watch both of them. Did Hirsch do I think he was trying to sting her here. Oh no, he's trying to catch a jump out, I guess. Interesting. So this is a really good thing that Hotashi does that Robo-Kai can do, where Carcass here, where a lot of characters wouldn't have good options, Robo-Kai can slide under. He missed the Carcass there. Nice 2K. A little bit close on the bazooka, but he made it work. So this command grab into super, when he first started playing Robo-Kai, and I was kind of putting my Robo-Kai hat back on, because I used to play this character a lot, actually, in Vanilla Accent Core a million years ago. I hated this. I absolutely hated this. One of the major things that I keep trying to focus Hotashi on is conscious management of his resources, meter and heat. It is just so crucial to Robo-Kai to manage those two resources. It is literally the difference between being able to win and lose in tons of situations. And it is also the difference between absolutely dominating neutral against a lot of characters and struggling in neutral against a lot of characters. So when I look at Robo-Kai, let me actually back up, because we have a lot of people in here, probably a lot of people that are maybe unfamiliar with Robo-Kai. Let's just take a few seconds and talk about how Robo-Kai works, because he is very unique, and you can see that immediately by the fact that his meter is completely different than everyone else's meter, right? So the way Robo-Kai works is all of his special moves, he's got a battery basically instead of tension. And every time he does a special move, it takes one block of the battery. There's 10 blocks total, and so it's the equivalent of like 100% meter. And he still can FRC, and he can still force break, and he can still super, and they still take the same amounts, 25, 50, 100%. But every time he does a special move, it takes one block. And the thing is, the number of blocks that he has when he starts the move determines the level of the special move. Every special move has 3 levels. And obviously they are better the higher the level. So for example, the air rocket. At level 1, which is you have 0 bar or 1 bar, is 2 considered level 1 or level 2? I actually don't remember. I think 2 bars is still level 1, I believe. But regardless, level 1 rocket, he shoots it, it goes about a character's length away from him, and then just drops to the ground. It just doesn't go anywhere. It's almost useless, honestly. Level 2 is whatever the cutoff for level 1 is, up to 50%. And when you shoot that one, it goes that same distance, and then once it gets to that 1 character length away, it has mild tracking on the opponent. It'll go a little bit up or a little bit down, depending on where the opponent is. The level 3 rocket is busted. Okay, level 3 rocket shoots straight halfway across the screen, and then it splits into 4 miniature rockets. And the 4 miniature rockets home in on the opponent to a very high degree. Okay, so going back to what I was saying a minute ago, when I say that he has the potential to dominate neutral against a lot of characters, you can literally just impose your will in a lot of matchups by just building up meter and then just doing jump, rocket, 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 and then you get to just go in. It is very hard to avoid all the rockets, and even if you do, you're generally putting yourself in a spot where he has the advantage. So, reeling it all the way back in now, this specific thing, I was starting to say I hated it at first. Because when I look at Robokai, the first thing that I always think of is how precious his meter is. And I want to make sure that I'm maximizing, you know, every meter spent. I want to get the most out of it, because he just spent 50%. That's 5 rockets. That's 5 rockets, okay? That's like winning neutral like 2.5 times, okay? So you need to justify this meter expenditure, okay? Now, as I've thought about this more, and we've talked a lot about Robokai and, you know, just, you know, thinking this through more, I think in this case, it is actually very reasonable to justify this meter expenditure for 2 reasons. Number one, he had full meter, actual full meter. So usually when you have full meter, you want to spend some, because as you continue to play with full meter, you're basically wasting meter because you're not building it, right? So there is some draw to spend meter in this spot. The other thing, though, that I think is more important is that this super builds him heat, which we haven't talked about yet, but it's a whole nother resource. See that little circular thing at the end of his meter? That's his heat gauge. I'm going to try not to get as detailed as I just did with the meter, but basically the way it works is he has multiple moves that either build heat or reduce heat. And again, similar to the special moves, his level of heat dictates his normals, the effectiveness of his normals. So when he's in high heat, which is denoted as that last 10%, that's in the dark blue, that's highlighted, his normals are absolutely insane. 5-piece staggers you on normal hit. His 2S becomes 2 hits. It's like plus on block. It's just all and it affects his specials also, actually. I should mention that also. I said normals, but it's actually all of his moves benefit from high heat. Now, the reason it's called heat is because he can overheat. So if it fills all the way up, he will literally overheat and explode even on block. He will just explode and he can get comboed off the explosion. So you're trying to walk this tightrope of building up heat to make your moves better, but you got to be careful that you don't overheat by overusing the moves that build up heat. You have to release the heat at some point. So okay, finally going back to this, the reason that I actually think this is justifiable is because this super, if you watch while the super is going, it is building his heat. The super, you can go as long as you want with the super, and the longer you go, it just continues to build up your heat, and then it has an ender. Here he chooses to not do the ender to get the knockdown. The ender also gives you a knockdown, it's just a different knockdown. But see how it leaves him in high heat? So he's basically transferring... Yeah, 10 minutes in, we're already 15 seconds in. Yeah, I know. We're basically transferring meter into heat. So the more I've thought about this, I'm actually okay with this. I still don't know that I would do it, I don't know, often or at all. I still have to think about it more. I'm still on the fence about this. Because the thing is, it's not hard to build your heat. That's the problem that I still have with this. It's not like it's a hard thing to do. It's actually harder to balance the heat and not overheat. But just building it when you're low heat is not really very hard. So, I don't know. Nice air throw. So here's the rockets. And see how Hirsch immediately had to respond. So Hotashi knows about this. He already knows that situation. There again, rockets just winning neutral. And then he overused slide. So he has a tendency to overuse slide a bit. Granted, it is a very good move, but it is not especially high reward, although it can be. But, so this is something, not necessarily Robokai, but specifically Robokai versus Venom. This spot, he chose not to do delayed wake up. This is actually one of the spots where I would basically always delayed wake up if I was him. And the spot that I'm describing is that the Venom has his back to the wall. Because what we saw in the last round, Venom has a really good way of meeting Robokai whether he does the delayed wake up or not. Against some characters, this delayed wake up just absolutely destroys their Oki timing. But Venom, if he does charge Stinger, he can cover both, and it actually gets worse for Robokai if he does delayed wake up. The difference here is that you have to understand from the Venom's perspective, he wants to get out of the corner more than anything else. He doesn't care about the Oki, he wants to get out of the corner. So he's not going to do charge Stinger Oki here. He's going to do exactly what Hirsch did. He's going to do K-Ball and cross up. And so in this spot, I would basically always do delayed wake up under the assumption that they're going to do Oki to get out of the corner rather than Oki to cover the delayed wake up. My cam partially blocks the heat gauge. Oh. That's okay. Maybe I'll shrink it for next time, but it's not that important. Yo, what's up, Hano? Good example of delayed wake up messing up the Oki there. So this is also something that I've been meaning to talk to Hotashi about, but it's so minor that I haven't brought it up. He does this combo too much. This is not the right combo, I don't think. Did he burst or something? Yeah, I want to take control and not burst. I bet you this combo drops. I want to see. I'm curious. I'm just going to not burst. Oh, he didn't do the 2S because of the burst. I want to look at it in training mode. I'll wait until after. Remind me after this. I want to look at that in training mode. For now, I'll just say that I think the right thing, and by right I mean like optimal thing, I think, is when you get this hit, 5K close slash, if you're really trying to optimize, this combo should only be done on crouching. I think you need to crouch confirm. I think on standing, especially against Venom, who's very skinny, I don't even know that this is possible on Venom, standing. I think you would need like some specific spacing or something. I would just never go for this. It's such a small increase in damage for like way too much risk of dropping the combo. Like, just take the knockdown. I feel like this is Omega greedy, and I think it's just a misconception. I think Hotashi just thinks that this is the right combo, but I don't think that it is. I think this is a specific combo for a specific type of hit, and I don't think that this is that hit. What I would do here is I would just do 5K close slash and confirm that, and on hit I would just do 2S, and that's it, and just take the knockdown. Yeah, I mean, Hano, that's a whole nother thing. If he's trying to do something to bait burst, there are other options. I'm just saying in general, without that level of detail, just in general, you get this hit. Because the thing is, this is a very common hit, right? Like, against standing 5K. Usually when you hit 5K, it's because they're standing. Like, you did some Oki, you did a high-low, and they got hit standing because this is a low. So, yeah, I'm saying, like, as a B&B. So we'll look at it as a training mode after. Because I'm actually genuinely curious. I don't think that could even combo. Against Venom. Specifically against Venom. Ooh. That almost didn't hit. Hirsch kind of got away with one there. Classic. Thanks, I hate it. He tried to throw, and he counter hit Mad Struggle with his 4-frame. Is it 4 frames or 6 frames? 5H's. 5H is a ridiculous move. 5 frames. I was wrong Both ways. It's 5 frames. Hate that move. I just wanna bait your throw, man. Just let me bait your throw. Okay. Oh, they both got lucky there. I don't know how that's even possible, but they both got away with one there. Hirsch should have exploded, and Hotashi also should have ate a bunch of damage. How did they both... Wait, what just happened? Did Hirsch cancel it? Oh, he canceled it. He canceled it way too... You might as well just let it go at that point. You waited too long to cancel it. That is so lucky for both of them. Jesus. Hotashi was like a millimeter. I wish there was a hitbox viewer in this game. That's got to be like a few pixels away. Yeah, that Robokai frame is so threatening, yeah. Yeah, if he didn't cancel, it would have been footsies, yeah. That's actually crazy. Like, they both got lucky there. Okay. Yep. Ow. Oh, I would have murdered him, I think. With that much guard meter. What did he hit him with? Oh yeah, I would have FRC'd. He could have come close to killing him probably. I mean, this is... So the other thing is, like, again, I prefaced this whole review. There's a lot of stuff that Hotashi already knows that we've talked about. So I know he knows, and this is another thing. This is very important with Robokai specifically. We talked, a while ago in one of the earlier reviews about the importance of throw OSing, and we were specifically talking about ground throw. But it is also useful in a lot of circumstances to OS your air throw. And especially for Robokai, because when I was talking about his heat mechanic earlier, jump H, this button right here, this is a ridiculous normal. Okay, look at this hitbox, okay? This shit is bananas. And the reward is insane, because on counter hit it like wall splats you. This is just like a great button. The balance of this button is that it builds heat. And so it's important that you have the ability, the muscle memory to throw OS, because here Hotashi was not trying to do jump H. He was trying to throw, but Hirsch double jumped away. Whoops. Right? So he saw Hirsch jumped out of the horsey, and then he tried to air throw, and Hirsch double jumped out of it. So in those kind of spots, you need to, and again, this is that nuanced decision making that I was talking about at the very beginning. That is, honestly, a lot of characters don't have this type of stuff where there's no right answer. I'm not even saying that he was wrong to do it there. But you need to ask yourself, do I want to raise my heat or not? If I miss this air throw, if he gets the air throw, it doesn't matter. But if I miss the air throw, do I want to raise my heat or not? Sometimes you will want to raise your heat, and then you will not want to throw OS. You will want jump H. But sometimes, like in this case, maybe, his heat was already pretty high. So he probably doesn't want to raise his heat. Also, the round is pretty close to over. So do you want the liability of having your heat that high when you don't really need to do that much damage to close the round out? It's like little things like this. You need to be able to, it needs to be natural to you. You need to be thinking about it before you even go for the air throw. And so, throw OSing with like jump P could have made a huge difference here. And we'll see. I don't know what's about to happen. We'll see if the heat winds up coming back to bite him here. Oh, he immediately released the heat. Oh, Hirsch, you animal. That was... You bet the whole game on that throw, Hirsch. It's funny that Hotashi submitted this and Hirsch is the one that's here. You damn right I mash throw. I respect it. You have to sometimes. You have to sometimes. Nice air throw. Okay, good burst. He burst at a good time after 6K. Bazooka. Yeah, not real. He knows this too. He was looking at this recently. I don't know when this match is from. I didn't look at the date. But I think he knows better now that that's not meaty. So again, here he's choosing to gain heat. Right, so I forgot that the Ender reduces heat. So that's why in the other one he wanted the heat, so he didn't do the Ender. I forgot about that. Stinger. So Hirsch, one tip for you, I don't know if you are aware of this. What I try to do against Robokai is when you hit this, don't do the second hit of sweep. Just cancel into Stinger after the first hit. Because then, for exactly this reason, if he doesn't delayed wake up, sometimes it's hard to react fast enough to the fact that he didn't delayed wake up. It's hard to react fast enough and release the Stinger in time to hit him meaty. Like here, this was not meaty. He respected it. Oh no, he didn't. He jumped out. Oh, he didn't get out though. But he could have jumped out. Whereas if you do one hit sweep, you'll be so close that it's like free. It's so easy to react to the fact that he didn't delayed wake up that you'll never miss it. So yeah. Like here, this one was okay because you were already closer because you basically hit raw sweep. But yeah, just in general, if you hit like a far sweep, don't do both hits. It'll make it way easier to do the S Stinger. He absolutely could have jumped out, Jove, yeah. He hesitated because he wasn't sure, and then he tried to jump out and got caught on the way up. But he could have jumped out for sure. Wow, what a character. Alright, so he chose off the stun to just take the meter. Yeah, see, at this range, it's like super easy to react. Oh, you missed your goal burst. See, like, Robokai loves this. He went from 50% meter to 100 meter, and he barely took any damage. And now he gets this. Oh, he dropped it. You were dead. You were 100% dead. He was just gonna super. I think you just cannot play that passively against Robokai. It's just like a losing strategy, I think. For Venom, specifically. Perfect. Thank you. This might have been because of the corner, but that's exactly what I was talking about. Standing Venom, I would never go for this. It's there might be like a timing where you cancel the 2K into the 2S at a very specific time, like a slightly delayed cancel, so you get a little more forward distance before you cancel, but if there's still enough hits done that the 2S... But why? Just, you're doing all this to get a 2P and a 2K? It's like, just take the knockdown. It's so pointless. It's so unnecessary. Not doing 2P would have made the laser hit. I don't think that's a Gatling. I don't think you can do close slash into 2K. You have to do the 2P to get back into the 2K once you've done close slash. Unless I'm just totally wrong. That, I was gonna say that's gonna combo and counter hit. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna watch the third match because we've already spent a lot of time. I mean, I've talked to Hotashi about a lot of this stuff. He knows a lot of stuff. He said that you were hitting him with a lot of match struggles. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but I don't feel like I saw a lot of match struggles. So I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe I'll go back and watch those again some other time. But I want to see this. I want to see this. So we already saw in the corner, but I want to see mid-screen. So first of all, yeah, this is not a Gatling. You cannot do 2K. So that's why he's doing the 2P. See, it's also like, I guess you need running momentum to do this. which is also going to affect it, like how much running momentum you have. It's just so unnecessary to me. I want to also look at the damage difference. So, like, what is the damage difference on 76? 13 damage? You're risking this for 13 damage. Completely unnecessary. I would never do this. On crouching, absolutely. On crouching, this should work every time. There should be no problem on crouching. Easy. No dash momentum, it just works. But you gotta confirm that they're crouching. On standing, and maybe there's some characters that are wide that this is more consistent on standing, but I would never go for this, I don't think. It's just unnecessary. Unnecessary is the perfect word, just unnecessary. You're risking, like, not only did he drop his combo, Hirsch actually punished with sweep. Talk about, like, the opposite ends of the spectrum. You went from getting a knockdown with Robo-Kai to getting knocked down as Robo-Kai. It's like, just, you know, just absolutely nightmare scenario. So yeah, I would never do this. Anyway, I think that's gonna conclude. So, you know, just 3 hours. It was only 3 times as long as I thought it would take. I expected like an hour to an hour and a half, and I think I'm gonna have to work on forcing myself to limit it. But I think this was good for a first pass. Obviously, I would rather be more helpful than less helpful, right? But I do have to limit it, I think, to some degree. What up, Hanzo? Your favorite streamer? I went back and I watched some of the Among Us lobby from last night. It was so fun listening to your commentary. It was really fun last night. The new map is hilarious. It's fun. Alright. So, I think we're done with this. I'm really in the mood to play now. I feel like there was something else I wanted to look at in training mode. Did I say that there was something else that I wanted to look at? Such a good idea for channel points. Yeah, you know where I got the idea, actually? I play Magic also. And in the afternoons, there is a Magic streamer that streams every day. It's his job. He streams for a living. And I have it on a lot when I'm working, because it's like a really good thing. It's very slow. I don't have to watch it. I can listen. If I have to do something, I can come back to it and immediately pick up, you know, where I left off and see the board state and everything. It's like a great game to have on in the background. And he's a good player, and he's educational, and he's just really mellows. He's great. His name is Aspiring Spike. So if you're looking for a Magic streamer, highly recommended. But he has channel point redemptions for deck reviews, exactly, where you can redeem points, and just on the spot he'll just pull up your list, and in 10 seconds he'll just give you feedback on your deck. You know, his opinions on your deck. Obviously, I can't do that because I can't do much in 10 seconds, but I figured I could adapt it into this. So it's nice. It would be nice if I could do it immediate, because he literally does it when you redeem it. Because again, there's like downtime in the match, so he can just pull up a browser window and look at your list and talk about it. I wish I could do something more immediate like that, but that's not realistic. So I think scheduling it for once a week, I think is a good idea. So yeah, if you missed the reviews, obviously you can watch the VOD. I'm going to notify the people who are not here with their timestamps so they can go back and watch. So again, if you kind of miss what's going on, you can redeem channel points. I'll review your matches, give you feedback. I'm going to do it once a week. And if you can't make the review stream, I will notify you by Twitch DM with a link to your timestamp so you can go back and watch it really easily. But for now, I want to play now.